So the start of this unit, the first lesson is arrays and multiplying by 10 and 100. We're not going to look at arrays. Multiplying by 10 and 100 is probably one of the happiest lessons you'll encounter in terms of multiplication. Because basically, the rules that go with it, the only thing you need to know the most is to keep track of your zeros. Pay attention to your zeros. That's all you need to know for this lesson, is to pay attention to your zeros. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Pay attention to those zeros. So let's say I have something like 5 times 10. Here is the process that needs to be going on, mostly in your head. But today we're going to sort of draw it out just so you can see. When it's something that's this small, we can go through it really fast. It's when it gets bigger and more complicated that mistakes can be made. So basically all I'm doing is, first I do 5 times 1. 5 times 1 is 5. Then I pay attention to how many zeros I have. I've got 1 0, and that 1 0 is what is added. That's it. If I would do the same thing, but it was 5 times 100, 5 times 1 is 5. I have 2 zeros. So I am adding 2 zeros at the end so that I have 500. That's what I mean when I say pay attention to your zeros. Now, what if I were to have a number as big as 25 times 10? Again, all I'm doing is I'm taking that whole number. The whole number 25 times 1 is 25. I have 1 0 that gets added on at the end, 250. If I were to do 25 times 100, it's the same thing. 25 times 1 is 25, and then I've got 2 zeros. Here's something that I also want you to see that is important. Stop. What if I were to have 50 times 10? 50 times 1, this is where we can get into trouble, is 50. Then I add on that 0. So where you can make a careless mistake is when a 0 is a part of the main answer, the first part, the times 1 part, and then you forget to add that extra 0 because you already see a 0 there. That's where it can happen. And it doesn't happen because you don't understand it. It happens because you're going too fast. That's it. So, do you need to do these arrows all the time? No, you don't. You can do anything as much as just kind of crossing it off or just putting like little arrows underneath it. Because when you get to something like, let's say, 50 times 10,000, that's where we get a lot of zeros and where we can make a careless mistake. 50 times 1 is 50. And then I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to make sure I have the right amount of zeros because this is where I could accidentally add 5 zeros or 3 zeros or just go crazy like Oprah, handing out zeros to everybody. And now I've got a number that's way too big. You probably don't get the Oprah reference, but I'm okay with that. You don't, do you? Oprah Winfrey is known for always giving out things. She's always giving out prizes at her show when she used to have a show. Would always, I love this lotion. Everybody gets this lotion. So don't be like Oprah when you're doing this. I love all these zeros. Everybody's getting zeros. Zeros for everybody.
Why would I want my birthday to be on the 0?
So that's the main key here, is to just pay attention to your zeros. Other than that, You're going to fly through this. Like 1 times 100, what is that? 100. What's 6 times 10?
60.
What's 2 times 10?
20.
What's 3 times 100? What's 4 times 100?
400.
And guess what? If you're not certain, they even gave you blocks here so you could just count. Okay, you're going to go through this really fast. But because it is something that is a lot more simple, and because it is something that we are confident in, the overconfidence is where we can get into trouble. So that's where you just got to kind of check yourself and just make sure you're not getting too comfortable with it, okay? 9 times 10, 7 times 100, 8 times 10, 6 times 100. Okay, so it's really not that bad, right? Right.